Hello, this is Randy, and welcome back to Brain Break with Randy and Keitho. I wanted to tell you a little story. When I was in sales, I had sales representatives based out of Los Angeles and Phoenix. Between those two locations was the Colorado River. On both sides of the Colorado River, there were people living. Where people live, there are chemicals. I could not get any of my guys to go over and take care of that business. I knew that if we weren't selling it, someone else was. So I started taking care of it with the very little bit of extra time I had in my life. I worked in Yuma, built that up, and I went farther north. And believe it or not, I worked in huge communities like Erhrenberg, Parker. I actually found quite a bit of business. I built it up to about $1 million of business. My sales reps wanted to take it. They said, no, it's mine. These are my friends now. And I hung on to it for a couple of years. I really did like the people I was working with over there. In fact, one of my favorite places to go is Yuma. I got to see family when I was there, my nephews and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. But I also got to see some really cool customers. I made some very good friends over there. The other thing is if you don't know this, Yuma's got some amazing Mexican food. Yeah, but I worked in Yuma, Somerton, and San Luis. Found the best sopes I've ever had in my life in Somerton. If you don't know what a sope is, you're missing out. They're pretty amazing. It's like a thick uh, tostada. When I would go up and down the river, went all the way up to Lake Havasu and Kingman, and found business on both sides of the river that our people weren't going to. And we had a branch in Las Vegas, and they were supposedly going to Kingman and to Laughlin, small community across the river from Bullhead City. It was gambling. They had a water plant there and a power plant. Our guys were selling very little of it. So I asked if I could jump in, and they didn't want me to. I finally did it anyway because I had authority to do that. I was at that time the VP of sales for the company. It was fascinating to show them how much business there really was there. For instance, there were a couple of steel plants, and they were only selling them the things that the company went out to bid on. I went to those plants, found out everything they were using, not just what they would send a bid out on. You know, we had a amazing sales guy in the Vegas area, Kyle Peterson, but he was a bishop and then a stake president. I know he didn't have time to go out of town, but I did. And I figured while I was there, I was going to find all the business I could because that's what I did. So, make a long story short, I kept that business for a few years, and then I turned it over to the local reps. But when they were saying, why didn't you give this to us sooner? I said, why did I have to give it to you at all? The whole point is you go out, you find the business, you develop it. That's the fun part. Giving you the finished business, that's easy. But the fun part is building the business, helping people solve their problems. To this day, I get enjoyment doing that. I don't understand why everybody sees it differently, but they do. For instance, as a field guy, you can either be a hunter or a harvester. I was always the hunter. I was always willing to go out and find the business and turn it into business. That was always more fun to me than just if somebody said, well, here's a piece of business, go and get it. I always found new business. A lot of customers never knew that they were using the wrong product or that they were using too much of it. Right now, working with a water facility, which is using probably $3 million more worth of chemistry than they need to. But trying to get them to understand that is not easy. So that's part of the job and helping them to figure out the whole process. A little bit more of my personality. I just took some time, and instead of going straight home from Yuma, I started going farther north and farther north. Found more business. It was fun. Lake Havasu was very interesting. I was in Lake Havasu the day that Arizona hit its highest temperature ever, which was 128 degrees. One of the problems with that is I was working outside that day, rehabbing a water well. None of us knew how hot it got. You don't listen to the radio when you're outside working, at least we didn't. I remember being so dried out, I stopped by a store and bought 2 gallons of water I was so thirsty that even though I had water all day long, I drank both of those gallons of water. Our day was probably at least 12 hours long, if not 14. We put in a long day. My friends went swimming. I had work to do. And so I went in and got on the computer and some work. By the time we were done, I didn't want to eat dinner. I think they may have gone and got something. I didn't. I did want to eat breakfast the next day. But the interesting thing is after I drank those 2 gallons of water overnight, I didn't need to go to the bathroom until after I got back to Phoenix late that next afternoon. Just crazy. Arizona has the Central Arizona Project, which takes water from the Colorado River in Lake Havasu, and it pumps it up a big wall. The pumps that they use are pretty fascinating. They were built in Japan. They shift through various speeds. As they get the water moving, they can go faster and faster and move it up the hill. But when it first starts out, it takes quite a bit of electricity. But when you're in Lake Havasu, you're watching television and those pumps kick on, there's a whole brownout in the town. They don't like to admit that, but it is. You'll be watching TV and the lights will dim, the TV will go dim, and then it'll come back on. It's kind of an interesting place. Lake Havasu is also very interesting because of the spring breakers. We didn't know anything about that, my friends and I, when we were working there. One morning, we had just worked overnight doing a well. We went to a Denny's to have breakfast. All these crazy spring breakers came in. Either they were there when we got there or they came in while we were there. I mean, we're just dressed like working guys. We've been out working on a well all night. So we're sitting down to a filling breakfast of pancakes, eggs, hash browns, juice, and milk. And these kids that were spring breakers, they're partying, and most of them are pretty drunk or high. My friends were like, "This is entertaining." I'm saying, "Let's get out of here. I don't like this." But we had some good times there. Got to work with some good guys, and the people in Lake Havasu are very impressive. The people who worked with the city were really awesome. I really enjoyed them. So anyway, that's enough of a story tonight. You can get a little idea of how competitive I am. My wife always says that I don't like to play games. I don't. The reason is I don't mind playing a game that's mindless, but playing a game that's competitive, I'm not going to pay much attention because I get the competition I need in my life from work. Thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Brain Break with Randy and Keitho. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And if you can, leave a comment. Have a great one. Bye now.